Welcome, welcome. We are back. It is your weekly Fun Boys. It's GP, it's Bags, it's JFDI. We're here with another pod on a Monday evening, December 4th, 2020. And I think we have some quarterly stock picks to recap. But before we do that, how are you guys?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah.
How we
Yeah,
feeling after today's sloppy session?
I mean, other than Palantir, I thought everything behaved pretty damn well, at least everything that's on my kind of radar. Um, DraftKings was a little bit weaker than I think the others, but other than that, yeah, still held the 20-day. A lot of the like big cap came into the 20-day and everything seems to be holding so far. So um
What was working on your screen, Nick?
um so a lot of the big cap names I've been eyeing have kind of put in 3-week tights as of last week. So I was actually pretty happy to see weakness today. Apple held up well. Amazon, Google tested the low end of its range and held. Tesla just basically is held within its range. Clack and LRCX are both setting up. Uber held its gap, although it kind of sold off into the end of the day. What else? What is the Dash broke out, Net broke out, Snow held up well, Crowd held up well. Again, like the only thing that really Shop held up well. Uh Airbnb, meh, okay. Meh, okay. Path, great. Again, the only thing that really shit the freaking bed today was Palantir. That's on my radar.
Down 10%. That's pretty big. On almost 10%. That's a pretty big move.
Yeah, I again, I generally fall under the guise that if a breakout fails, it's likely going to head back to the low end of its range. I'm definitely always kind of secretly hoping in the back of my mind that if it's a name that I like, that it'll put in a higher low. So, for instance, like Palantir, you could basically have a range drawn from like 14 to 20. And
Yep.
being that the breakout over 20 failed, it's likely to head back to 14. Although it has the gap from basically 15 up to whatever that is, like 1740. So that gap high coincides with the 50-day. So again, like I'd love to see a higher low put in and kind of hold somewhere around there. If not, I think it's heading back down towards the gap fill at like 15, and the 200-day basically coincides with that. So I think if you're a long term bull on Palantir, I think you're going to have some opportunity in one way or the other. It's just you got to kind of bide your time here.
Do you think you're getting a gap fill there, or do you think it's going to just test the gap?
As of right now, I want to say it's just going to test the gap because again, like I'd love for it to see it kind of put in a higher low here rather than
So it can
going
still hold the
back.
50 days, what you're saying, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised to see it in the lower 17s.
yeah, yeah,
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. That's sort of that high wick, that 17-15,
yeah.
which coincides with 17-21. So somewhere in that range, that'd be a pretty logical bounce spot if the 50-day doesn't hold.
I think a lot of it will just kind of the overall market. I think if strength continues, I'd be in the camp that it kind of puts in a higher low if weakness continues for whatever reason, I'd probably be more in the camp that it's probably heading lower. At the very least, like the undercut of the 50-day.
Jason says he's a buyer in the low 17s.
Yeah. Yeah, if we got a 17 and a quarter, I'd bite too.
All right, GP, what was your take of today's session? You've been firmly in the lockout, no give backs camp for the last 2 weeks.
And that's exactly, we gap down, push right to the gap higher from, I believe, the CPI, right? And we held and we tried to push up. We tried to push up into the gap from today and actually closed. We opened at 386.09 and we closed right back into the gap. So
you're saying that was the opportunity. If
Yeah.
you were going to take it, that was it.
I personally think we're probably in a rotational camp again. I think we're just going to rotate through. Friday, you saw, as always, Netflix leads. Friday was down on absolutely no news. Today kind of confirmed it, so you knew that mega caps are coming with it. And obviously they came with it today. And on top of Netflix showing the weakness or the rounding top or whatever you want to call, after 140 point move higher, you had all the crap rising, Carvana, all that stuff, and so you had Carvana kind of take off today. It's a pretty big beastly candle, and a lot of the high short interest names beyond Carvana, Path, literally you can go through all of them. They're just rotating through all the short.
Sentinel One, SoFi.
Yeah, literally they're just going through. This is the same exact scenario. So to me, this is the tail end of the move in these names, probably a day or two more, but then you start to see rotation back into mega caps. And I think we finish up the year pretty strong in mega caps. It was interesting, like Microsoft was down pretty heavy right off the open, and it looks exactly like the Q's chart. So Tesla
NVIDIA held the
exactly. NVIDIA is not really a big deal. It's doing what it's done for the last 5 months. Like, so everyone who talks about bubbles, everyone who talks about all these stuff, like I don't think has actually ever lived through a bubble of any sort, because these are not, like, if you're looking at the NVIDIA chart, this is not how bubbles behave. It gapped up 30% on May earnings and then it's done nothing essentially, right? So it's been kind of sideways for the last 5 months. This is literally not how bubbles behave. So it's consolidating, it's rotating, it is frustrating, it's doing what things do as they get ready for the next leg higher, in my opinion.
Big cap?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think what you're gonna see is yeah, lemon was one of them too, and literally it's all just the crap. But I think you start to see the laggards in the mega cap space start to pick up more heavily. Google, and like the ones that have not hit all-time highs again, because Apple hit all-time highs, Microsoft hit all-time highs, NVIDIA hit all-time highs. Tesla has not, Amazon has not, Google has not, Netflix obviously has not, and Tesla will continue to operate in its own world because that's how Tesla does. But I think you should be probably more focused on Amazon and Google here, because Amazon got back to that 147 level, and guess what they did again? They sold it again. And Google got right back to that 140 level and they sold it again. So, but you can see the sell is on less and less volume each time. So this is starting to coil, and I think these start to play catch up. So My personal view is if you're looking at mega caps, I'd be looking at Google and Amazon for plays. Specifically Google more than Amazon because I don't know, Amazon annoys the hell out of me. But there's other names that are looking great, like Dash. Dash is just starting to break out of its monster base here. You can call that a cup and handle, whatever you want to call it. But reality is it's just starting to break out of a pretty long base. Question is, do we see follow through? Do we see continuation? If we do, Dash is going to like 130 or so. What else? I think Shop is consolidating really nicely, probably ready for earnings, second leg breakout move. Roku, another one who's consolidating pretty nicely above the base here, starting to move higher. Coin, huge move. It's up 100%, 100% in 5 or 6 weeks, so it probably needs to rest here. So the only name that continues to get obliterated day in and day out is Baba.
Coin, just a fantastic move that we've been. Nick, you're not long Coin, right? It's just me and GP.
No. Yep.
Yeah, just spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
I was trying to record a video, and Coin was actually my example. Mainly through the 100, and because it was definitely a trade that I was watching, and yeah, I don't know why I passed on it, but I did.
GP, you answered the question I was going to ask, so thank you for anticipating it so great. Of the mega caps, you like Google, Amazon, Tesla? Was that the other one that you liked?
It's hard to like Tesla because it's Tesla. Overall, long term,
so it's Google and Amazon, but Google better because Amazon's so frustrating.
Yeah, Google is frustrating too, but Google just looks slightly better than Amazon here, but they both look great. So it's once it clears this stupid zone, this 146, 147 zone, it's the base breakdown from 2020 to 2022. Bottom of that, so it's going to anticipate it's coming in, but once it clears that, should be a clear path to 170. Google, once it kind of clears that kind of base, we're sitting right at the base bottom of 2020 to 2022 here. Once it clears that, all-time highs is on radar, which is 155. I can see that happening into not year end, January OPEX.
Nick, which mega cap names do you like?
I was gonna say Apple, Amazon, and Tesla. Were 3 that all put in 3-week tight patterns or pivots. But I'm kind of a GP. Like I'd rather trade Google than Amazon.
Yeah.
And I thought today was a pretty low risk spot to grab it. I did not. I don't particularly like that it's below the 50-day, but I in terms of like where it's at within its range, I thought today was a good spot. But
they're crap weekly candles, right? Ultimately, it gap way below prior week's low on the first trading day of the week. So ideally, what you'd like to see is potentially a bullish engulfing of the whole week, right? That's what you want to see by Friday. But it's possible that in this case that it just continues lower. And the reason I would say it doesn't is because of how the Qs behave, right? And if you look at the Qs, it's been holding that gap. It tried to fill that gap today and immediately got bought up, right? So what is that? The gap up is 380, 371, and essentially put in a long wick off that gap. So so far the lockout rally continues. Yeah, you can get into some names that maybe you couldn't have gotten into, but you're still paying a higher price than you were 4 weeks ago. But the lockout rally continues to be a lockout, and so that's the gap I'd be watching. We get a close under that low, that 383-ish area, and you could definitely see further weakness. But so far, if the Qs are holding, then most likely the mega caps will. If the Qs start to break down,
I was thinking the same thing.
And
Meta and NVIDIA look very similar to me. And kind of going back to the Palantir point, like where Meta and NVIDIA both are, like they're back within their ranges. And as of today, they're basically at least have the potential of putting in a higher low off of their 50-day.
So Meta for me needs to be above 323, and every day that it closes below that 323, that's the big gap down from 2022. Every day that it closes below that just strengthens the case for the weakness, right?
Sure.
And so we had our first close below that 323 level. We tried to clear that level in July, got rejected. Tried to clear it again in October, got rejected. We tried to clear that level here again, got rejected right into the 50-day. You'd want to see a false breakdown here, that it broke below that 323 level, and tomorrow it reclaims it. But if this continues to act weak under that 323 level, there's more likelihood of further downside. And the downside, I think, this time will actually break that 270 level, 274 level. So Meta is one of the mega caps that, interestingly enough, is been strong, but also has not been great. That's 3 attempts at taking out the gap from 2022, and it can't.
Yeah. Ultimately failing in this last attempt.
Yeah,
I would probably give it down to sort of like 295-ish. I would let it make sure it's going to dip below this range that's set in right here, but I don't disagree with that thesis at all.
The problem here, Bags, right? The reason I say it can go lower is because you've had now 3 attempts to kind of like people have been stopped out or not stopped out and now annoyed. So that adds fuel to the fire of the sell side pressure.
For sure.
Yeah. So if it starts to it close above the 50-day, but the more days it goes under 323, the more weakness you'll see, because that added pressure of all those people buying the last 5 months will only accelerate it.
Yeah. And I say sort of that 295 area. I've got the daily up here. That sort of is the lower end of this range it's been in. And if you guys are pointing at Google, I mean, if it got down to 295-ish, that's a very similar setup to what's happening in Google currently that you guys sort of liked. And I have no position in Meta. That's just me giving a look over the chart for my 2 cents. Anyway, I ask all that about mega caps because we've mentioned it before on the pod, and it's something that I wrote about this weekend. Was you don't have to have all the Magnificent Seven going, higher all the time for the Qs to go higher. It can be a little bit of a drag. And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, GP, when you said rotation, right? As we're seeing these Carvanas and the IWM freaking up a 1% today, right? Like there is rotation going on in the market. And where can we find opportunity in that outside of maybe a handful of mega cap names? And I think that Tesla and Amazon could be 2 of the better mega caps, just personally, coming in through the end of the year and through Q1 of 2024. But we'll have to see. Right? Like there's definitely some pressure on some of the names, but you look at Microsoft, and I mean, Microsoft yeah, it's under the 20-day, but I mean it bounced right back. GP, as you said, like just like the Qs basically did today with that huge, strong, long wick there. So it's hard for me to discount how well Microsoft is performing too. So if you get 3, maybe 4 of the mega caps, the Qs aren't going to, fall off the table. It's just going to be a grind, and then you have to find the opportunity in some of the other names in the IWM or other sectors. And another sector that could be pretty good, XLF, right? It's running really hot, but it looks pretty strong right now. So I don't know what you guys think about where other opportunity is.
I was gonna ask. Oh, yeah, I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
ask the same thing. Like GP in terms of like rotation, if there's any what he or where you thought money was going to be moving in and out of, other than big cap.
No, so like I think so when you're looking at like tail ends of like rallies, right? I think it's a little different in this situation as we started the year with the crap that's moving now is where we started the year. Carvana, Path, a lot of stuff, right? It's kind of where 2023 began with kind of squeezes and all these short names, right? So that's typical of a new bull market starting. You basically start covering your shorts so you can have money to put towards the names you want to be long, right? So you'll see some of the mega caps start acting much better going into end of January or after OPEX or something like that, right? So like NVDA, I think finally broke out after OPEX, right? So you're starting to see those kind of same moves here. So my personal opinion is these were mean reversion trades in a lot of these kind of small cap names, Square, Disney. We've talked about this a few times, right? And we should see more pressure, more weakness into these names into the end of the year. Could be tax loss harvesting, could just be people be like, dude, I'm up 50% on Square in a month and a half. I'm going to take some profits or whatever, right? So we saw this in Roku. Roku went from 28 to 98 and then all the way back down to 55, right? So the first move out is taking profits, and so you should see some of these people start taking profits into the end of the year, especially with tax loss harvesting, and I think that money starts to rotate back into mega caps. And so personally in the camp that the lockout rally continues, right? And the question is where it will always be, and that's what I answered earlier, which is I think Amazon and Google start to play catch up into the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. I think into the end of the year, the things that have been acting well are gonna continue to rip. I think we'll almost end up seeing the definition of the January effect, where if we're gonna see some real pause in big cap, I think it'll come January when people start picking up the shit that they dumped.
Yeah, that's what I think, right? Like if you look at Bill's a mean reversion trade. Path is looking really well, but that was a lot of volume last week. I think it was the highest volume ever, right, on a weekly chart. So I'd be careful here because even though it's breaking out of its base, it's on the highest volume ever. So who's kind of left to buy, right, so to speak. So just stuff to watch here. Hopefully we just continue consolidating sideways and money rotates, but those are the things we'll have to kind of watch. I like Roblox, looks pretty good too. Shop is looking pretty good. I think Shop, Roku are all ready for stage 2 moves, so I don't think those see as much weakness, right? So consolidation here for a few weeks and those names would be good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't like XLE. XLE looks like it's about to break down. Nat gas doesn't look great, which also looks like it's about to break down. So in rotation terms, I don't really see how commodities are the place to be. Metals actually look pretty decent, but gold got absolutely manhandled today. It finally took it finally
Gold
took out
had
it finally
gold
took
was
out
at
our
all-time
all-time
high.
high, Nick,
Yeah.
and then it got smoked.
Yeah.
Now you know why I don't even bother. Oh my god, I don't even want to know.
I didn't. I've been stalking. I've been watching it. I don't know. I don't have the capital to put towards it, so it's like nothing I can do about it.
Dude, it's the physical equivalent of Bitcoin, right? Like
Yeah.
the assigned value, there's no actual real value besides maybe jewelry or whatever, but like other metals like silver and copper and nickel and lithium, not lithium, but lithium as well. I mean, those are all, they have physical value to them because they're used in products that we use day-to-day basis.
Sure.
So I never really understood gold as a hedge, but it just seems like the physical version of Bitcoin. So everyone who's a gold bug who hates Bitcoin should just smack themselves because they're the same individuals, just different generations.
Yeah.
So speaking of, potential rally, I mean, we saw oil crude get slapped, right? We see Dixie still pulling in lower highs on the RSI. These are all reasons for a rally, right? I mean, OPEC just announced they're going to do more cuts, and this time the market's like, we're not gonna give you a pat on the back for it this time. With gold, with crude at the bottom of the range that it's been in, and Dixie looking like there's still some weakness in the dollar. Those are all reasons to be bullish stocks. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and so what I found really
I am wrong.
You're not wrong, but
Okay.
what I found really interesting today is that mega caps got sold while rates were higher and dollar was higher, but small caps had a bid, right? That's a noticeable change and probably not sustainable because if dollar and rates start to rally from here, small caps don't really work. Right? I think it's like 47 or 50% of small caps are unprofitable. They need lower rates to continue to succeed. So that's also playing a role into what I'm thinking is that wait, so you sold mega caps as the rates were and the dollars were rallying and you bought small caps? Say what?
Sorry, I'm adjusting the chart here.
Oh, good, Nick. Well, we're 30 minutes in. It's been a very productive conversation thus far, but I'm going to start throwing some shade. It's time to reveal our quarterly picks.
Oh God! Well, I think JP is the winner, right? Or no? Or are you the winner?
Is he? Well,
you're probably.
For those who are tuning in and don't know, we picked a quarterly long that we wanted to be in. Nick chose Fastly. GP chose Wayfair, and I chose Tesla. Then a month ago, we said, all right, let's add a short as a hedge on what we're doing, basically. And GP chose Palo Alto. Nick chose SMCI. And I chose Lulu. So we can do this one of three ways.
Oh.
But I'll just go on the long side. Fastly performed at a negative 24.62%.
Oof, duh.
Wayfair performed at a negative 18.44%, and Tesla at a negative 3.8%. Now, if we look at our shorts, Palo Alto performed at a negative 18.42%. So
yeah, right. I'm consistent.
that would be gains. It gained was the gains basically. SMCI would be a negative 0.64%, and Lulu a negative 12%. So if we put all those numbers together, your illustrious podcast crew here, GP takes the grand total for the biggest loser at a negative 36.86%. Nick, you get the silver with a negative 31.02%. And I guess I'm the winner with a negative 15.8%. So there you go.
Hey, 18% down on both of them. You can't beat that consistency.
Yeah, no, that's solid shit, GP.
That's right.
I was like 1844, 1842. Holy shit. That's within 0.2% there.
And this is why time frames matter.
%.
And this is why time frames matter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, if we check this in 6 months, Wayfair will be much higher.
They all will be.
Well,
maybe not Fastly.
Yeah. Hey, I put in a nice bar on Friday. You never know.
Technically, Tesla had a quarterly MACD negative cross, by the way.
Price is all that pays, you jabroni.
Yeah, true.
A nice bar today from the old Fastly. Yeah,
nice 3-week tight on the weekly. It's getting ready.
Why didn't any of us choose coin?
Pull a double. Nick said pull a double.
Yeah. I know. Foot and mouth.
GP said 130 to 140. It's not even at 60. And then Bag said we're going to all-time highs. We're not. We're not testing the all-time highs.
So we're all technically 50% off from our target.
Yeah, we're all wrong. That's the point of the whole exercise, is that we're a bunch of clowns.
So did the shorts or longs get any greens? Was it all red?
No. The closest to the green was Nick on his SMCI short. No, sorry, the closest to green was my Tesla long, because it's only 3.8% down. Nick is second in that regard on his SMCI short, which was only down 6.4%. Jason saying new picks next week, more pain. I love it, Jason. Yeah, I think this is something that we should do after every earnings season. Is we should all right.
Earnings season's over.
Exactly.
So let's do it.
All right. Do we want to do it? We need some time to think about it. So let's reveal them next Monday.
I got my pick.
You already got your pick?
Oh shit! What are you going with?
Wayfair. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
No, I don't have my pick.
All right. We can do it Thursday. Special announcement, intraday pod with Cookie on Thursday. We can do it Thursday, or we can wait till next Monday.
Whatever. Let's see if we have anything by Thursday.
Maybe we can somehow post a poll and
no one cares about it.
Just internally. And Randy, he puts the chairs and brings the finger sandwiches. So Randy could give us Visco like he did. I mean, look at that. Visco. And Jason, like, they might want to participate in this. So let's figure out a way that we can add some loves to it. Anchors might want to be in this thing too. Let's figure it out. But let's plan next week. We will have our pick for
We should do that, and then going into the end of the year, we should have a 2024.
I'm going with Nicola. I'm telling you right now.
For 2024?
Yep.
Do we want to do a quarterly and a 2024 or just a 2024?
Yeah. No, I think both.
All right. Fair enough. Rachel says she's picking Mara.
Dude, look at the accumulation, Nicola.
Are you serious right now?
I am absolutely serious.
Yeah, there's a lot of volume off this base.
They're loving
Monster base.
Yeah.
They may start rolling trucks downhill again.
I mean, I've seen worse daily charts.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's buying this, but they are buying week after week after week after week.
Shit out of it, aren't they?
I'll write that down.
That's interesting.
You almost want to put a lotto position on. It's like, what do these guys know?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's $1.
But they're buying the piss out of it from $1 to $1.70, $1.90. So $1 to $1.90, they're buying the hell out of it.
Question is, what do they know, right? And so these are if you look at the setup, it's very similar to Carvana going into year end. So into the last year end, if you bring up Carvana.
Yeah. Kind of going into like April, you mean? Or
Yeah,
last year.
It's almost the same setup bar for bar.
Yep. Just saying, and Carvana's up what 900%?
Hang on, I gotta see if there's any insider buying here on the old FinViz. Well, I'm not huge on doing everything by insider buys and sells, but I want to know where those buys are coming from, and sometimes you can get a good. It's all sales. It's every bit sales on their insiders. There has been no buys reported on the insiders since at least.
You know who's buying?
December.
BlackRock, Vanguard. BlackRock bought 12
they're
million
all sales
shares
for over a year now. They're all sales.
So as of last quarter, BlackRock has 56 million shares and added 12 million. Citigroup has 10 million, added 9 of those last quarter. BlackRock has 47 million, added 4 million last quarter. And
well, damn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
So the question is, what does Vanguard and BlackRock know that we don't?
I mean, I'm just going to throw a couple $1,000s at it for shits and gigs.
I'm gonna do the same fucking thing.
You're welcome. Don't cry if it goes to zero.
I clicked on there.
I'll buy you a vegetarian pizza, GP, next time I see you.
Hydrogen.
We can just call it a cheese pizza. That's it. You have my pick for 2024, Nicola.
Rachel says, or Rivian or Net. Oh, she's not picking. She's asking suggestion. Asking. And hi, Rachel. Long time no see. Thanks for joining us. We always love seeing you and appreciate you being here. Pick a crypto too that will do the best in the next 3 months. That's really hard, Rachel, because shit coins can pop off for any given reason, and there's a billion of them. So it's kind of. Gaga Papa says he's going to buy 50,000 shares tomorrow of old Nicola. If it doubles, he's going to send GP a horny gift. Hey.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Hey, easy there, Gaga Papa. He's a married man. Well, that was fun. Nicola, I mean, that might be that's not a bad pick for your 2024 pick, GP.
I know. You've got it.
I don't know. I don't know if I would want to hold it that long because if it pops, it might just, it might do Carvana, right?
Carvana went from $3 to 40 right now, so you're
Yeah. I know, but I mean, there's no guarantee it takes out 52, right? And you would love for that to be in a quarterly bet and not a year-long bet, maybe.
This type of accumulation usually is a year, if not multi-year conversation. But I could be wrong.
All right.
I would take it as my 2024 pick. But
I'm just going to go all in Kathy for 2024.
You know, it looks pretty good. Speaking of Kathy, I don't know if she's involved in it or not, but Twist is looking pretty damn good.
Twist. Let's twist again.
TWST.
Interesting.
AMZN.
All that range that broke out of back in 2020.
I have a feeling 2024 is going to be a wild freaking year.
How so, Nick?
I think it's going to be like it's going to have a 2020-esque feel to it in some, I don't know. Like it's going to be fucking wild on the news. Like it's going to continue to be fucking nuts.
Well, there is a presidential election.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, like let's just whether if Biden and Trump are the two candidates that are running, regardless of who wins, I feel like it's going to be an absolute shit show.
It's been a shit show for like 30 years, so
well, fair.
40.
Fair.
Yeah. Well, I think our swim stopped responding while we're talking, so I got no other charts for you guys.
You have no other charts.
No other picks.
You have no other charts.
Costco
also,
setting up
I
again.
Also love First Solar.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like
First Solar. What First Solar is doing is just phenomenal. As a long-term conversation. I'm not talking about 5 minutes here, guys.
Yeah. I mean, even on the near term, I think 220 is kind of the target, at least for me.
I trade the 1 and 3 minute charts, bro. 5 minutes is too long.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
But
tick charts, man.
It tried to break out, came back and retested the base. It's held the base back-to-back months, hammered. There's really not much debt. Can other solar names do better than First Solar? Yes, because they go crazy. But First Solar looks good for a pretty long-term hold as long as it stays above 130.
It looks poised to stay above 130. Like that's a nice buoy that it made there last month. Boing! That, my friends, is nearly a bullish engulfing. Nick, what's some names you like?
Costco, I like. I thought that was setting up. I like JP Morgan.
Costco is just a beast.
Dash Net, I love.
Net.
I think Snow is setting up here.
Net is
go
so
stage
good.
2.
Can we just can we just get some appreciation for the drip?
Yep.
On that there, like that's just, and it's just starting.
Yeah, like I think these are getting ready to go. Yeah, stage 2.
I mean, it's absolutely made a big move from mid 50s up to it touched 80 today, right?
Yeah, same thing with Datadog here. They've had nice move off the lows, but it kind of feels like they're really just getting started.
I love it.
I think snow is in the same category. Getting ready to go stage 2 here if it can hold. I think it's got a nice
Same chart.
that gap that it put in last week. So like 193 is basically your trigger, and you're risking like, I don't know, 178 maybe, if you want to give it that much. But yeah, I like those quite a bit. I own Snow and Net. I don't own Datadog. I know, like, I've been paying attention to you. It's not as, I don't know, it's not as strong, not as pretty, but I think it definitely could. And I kind of look at you the same way I look at Roblox. Like, the move in Roblox, I don't
That's
think
exactly what I was getting ready to say, Nick.
yeah, like, they're still within their stage 1 base, where like the move in Roblox doesn't really get going until over 48, even 50, 52. But you have like an awesome cheater entry here to at least trade against. On the weekly, you have a 3-week tight on Roblox, pretty much right on the 200-day. So you're only risking, if you're entering Roblox like anywhere between here and the 200-day, you're risking to, like, let's just say 35. And at least you have a position going into the break over 48 where you can leg into it. I think that's kind of the same idea in you here, where it has some resistance. I think like right here at like 32, 33, there's kind of like a small gap back in what was that, September. If it can kind of push through the 200-day, it can probably pick up a little bit momentum. But same thing, like the real move doesn't even get going until it gets over basically 50. But either way, I like them. I like them both. Like, I like a lot of these names that are, in this kind of like stage 1, these massive bases. Just the longer they build these bases, it's energy building. So when they do finally break out, they should be some massive winners.
No doubt.
I love the accumulation on you overall.
On you,
It's very similar to Path,
especially over the last 6 months.
Yeah, so I really like it. I think it's got a lot of energy to the release. It's butting its head a bit up against the weekly 50 MA. And it's coming from the underside. So if it breaks through this 50 MA, which is 32.96 area, it has that potential to take out the high of that kind of range that it's been setting, which is around 60, which would be an insane move. It's still close to 100% from here.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like it a lot. I'm long via some options. So let's see what happens. I also like what biotech is doing, man. Biotech is ripping.
Rotation station.
Yeah.
XBI just basically put in like a massive double bottom on the monthly.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
So last October 2022, the names that bottomed first were mostly in the XBI sector, right? And IWM for that kind of ancillary benefit, right? But XBI sector, and it was the first one to bottom and move out of there. And then it came back to retest that bottom. Usually it happens in 4 to 6 months. This time it decided to take the long way home. And it took nearly a year, right, to come back and retest that. But this is a proper, when people talk about double bottoms, this is what a double bottom looks like, right? This is not like double bottoms that happen 3 weeks after it bottoms is not a double
Double
bottom.
bottom.
Let me say it again. If you bottom today and then you come back and retest it 3 weeks from now, that is not a double bottom. Double bottoms are pretty seismic events, right? That's how you know it's a double bottom. It sometimes breaks underneath that or comes back and retests right next to that, but it's never in 2 to 4 weeks. It's always 5, 6 months later when it feels like all hell is about to break loose and break down, right? And then boom, you see a reversal. And XBI gave you that. And that's what you're looking for in a double bottom. And it's confirming week after week after week. It's butting into the weekly 50 MA here. But if it takes over this area, this 80, 83, 85 area, then you have a really bigger move that's going to happen here.
What are there any names in particular in the XBI?
Oh, I hate
IB?
I will only play there. I'm sure there's lots of names in the thing, but trying to figure out which one's going to be the winner is not my forte.
I'll just pull up the IBB here.
Right, but yeah, there's a lot to really like. Home Depot actually looks really good after they obliterated it for like 9 straight weeks.
Home Depot, my people.
Right, like if you go to the weekly, it literally was straight down for 9, 10 weeks, kind of, and it's coming back into that top of the base. If this breaks out, this again. Goldman looks great.
I like the consumer discretionary names.
XLF in general, like I love how people were so bearish XLF when it's testing the top of the 2008 consolidation base, and now it's starting to break higher. And you're like, dude, the ammo that's sitting in this market to push higher is substantial. And yes, we might be overbought on dailies and mid dailies, and weekly is not that overbought, nor are the monthlies even.
Zoom out.
Yeah, that's so the
Time
conversation.
frame though. Time frame.
Yeah.
Rachel asks, what do we think of Hood? I haven't looked at Hood in some time.
But there's a lot of spec buyers in that space right now. It's the crypto space. I believe there was
really
12,000 something calls bought for 5 cents. That's all spec buyers.
I would think that Hood would be a long-term winner. I think that just the product itself, I don't know, and what it provides people, I think, I don't know. What is it IBKR? Is that Interactive Brokers?
Yeah, dude, there was 12,000 10.5 call buyers today at 5 cents a piece, right? Like they're just trying to squeeze all this crap, in my opinion. So
Sure.
Until you see it kind of break out of this base, which it's literally been in since January 2022.
Set an alert at 14 and forget about it.
Yeah, you can trade it for when people are trying to squeeze it. I'm sure you'll make some money through it, but they're not a very, you can't even trade SPX on it, right? You can't trade any of the index names, right? Some of the stuff that people trade. If that was possible, then I think you see Hood get a bigger move, because that brings in a lot more traders. A lot of people use SPX as a trading tool because of the tax benefits.
Sure.
Right, the 60-40 split on SPX, the NDX, all these things are all tax benefits. So like you're not getting that. And so I think, yeah, it has potential, but even Howard sold out his entire position.
Of Hood.
Yep. He's no longer a shareholder. I thought I remember seeing that.
He's ornery.
He's what?
Ornery.
Henry.
What does that mean?
Like, just he's fed up with like just shit. Like he's kind of like he just appears kind of grouchy.
Cantankerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hasn't
Yeah.
he's kind of isn't that his MO for like the last 15 years or the last 10 years that I've been on the platform?
Yeah, probably. I guess I just haven't noticed it as much. And I just feel like as of recently, him and his Elon hatred been
He's
more.
hated Elon forever.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck Elon.
Go
GFY.
fuck yourself.
GFY, Elon.
Hey man, as much as you as much as you can argue both sides of liking him or not liking him, some of the things he does stand up for what he believes in. And so however you may feel about his personality and his abilities, but anyone else who's invested $44 billion is not talking like that.
Agreed. Dude, that Cybertruck, the whole fiasco of it, I thought, like, I mean,
Yes.
can't really say that I could see myself driving one, but like, I thought it was sweet. Like, just kind of ugly. I don't think it was like the greatest looking truck. It could have been, I don't know, whatever. But either way, like, I just thought it was like the whole kind of thing of it was cool.
It's only going to cost about 50% more than anticipated on the consumer side.
Still cheaper than any
there's
truck,
only
any
like
electric
there's only
truck
like
in its
10 of
range.
them being made right now, or 10 of them out there right now that have been delivered. Let's see how many actually get delivered. That's all I'm saying. I've been in the camp all along that the Cybertruck was bullshit, and I still say it's bullshit. Just because you have 10 of them out in the wild doesn't change my mind on that yet.
So were you in the camp that the Model 3 and the Model Y will never get to production either?
No, I was not.
Okay. Because you're sounding a little Tesla Q to me.
Tesla, yeah, no, I've always, hey, I'm a shareholder of Tesla right now, so I want everything to be the best it possibly can. But again, it comes back to fuck Elon. He's a great marketer. He's a great pitch man. He's a great in selling himself and his ideas. But again, self-driving is more than 10 years still coming next year. The Cybertruck is, we'll see what it does. I'm glad they finally made deliveries. But again, it was supposed to be a $40,000 vehicle. It's going to be closer to a $70,000 vehicle. Yeah, so like there's a lot of bullshit that gets spun, and if you can't recognize that and call it for what it is, then you're just up Elon's ass, and that's okay.
No,
I prefer not to have my zip code being up his ass.
I believe you're talking about time frames, and your time frame is not aligning with his time frame, which is why there's a difference in opinion. And he
what's the difference in time frame when every year for the past decade he's basically said that we're going to have self-driving this year, next year, next year, next year. It's always next year. It's like the Cubs until they finally won the World Series. It's next year, right?
Yeah, but you're missing the whole point, right? It's not about a full self-driving. It hasn't been. You're talking about a product that has changed the way the industry works. It wasn't self-driving that changed that industry. So I believe you're getting lost in the trees for the forest, because the car itself is something that most people want to drive.
I'm not taking anything away from the car.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a shareholder, and I said he's a marvelous marketing and pitch man.
He delivers a product.
That's all these future fulfillments
but
are.
You're minimizing his his abilities by saying he's a brilliant marketer. Because it doesn't matter how great a marketer you are, people wouldn't want it if the product doesn't match that marketing. There's a great bunch of people who own Nikola from '96 because they were a great marketing tool too, but they're still never gonna get their money back in from '96 because they never had a product to deliver. They just rolled trucks downhill. He's a bipolar person. I don't disagree, but the products he delivers is continued to show that there's demand for it.
No, I don't
And the
think
truck did come
I
in
don't think I'm
higher.
getting confused at all. Like, again, I'm a shareholder. Again, I think I give him credit for the things that he's done by being a shareholder. And yeah, I mean, that maybe you can say my time frame and his time frame don't fit, but it's always the one more thing, right? And that's what a good marketer does, is I keep you interested by, this is the next new cool thing. And whether it comes out next year, in the case of self-driving, which has been next year for a decade now, or it actually comes out next year, that chums the water. And I'm not taking anything away from him as a business person. And I don't think saying that he's a great marketer does that at all. And I'm not comparing him with any other company, much less Nikola. So I think I try to put fair expectations on the things that come out of people's mouth, and not necessarily drink the Kool-Aid that everything that they do is sunshine and rainbows.
Okay.
So that's it. That's it. I can be a shareholder and still not be happy with the things he does. It's hard.
Well, there's been a decade of that.
Exactly. So I can criticize, and when I'm proven wrong and something happens that makes me change that view of him, then great. I'm big enough person to admit when I'm wrong. But so far, those things, amongst others, we're not going to go into all the political biasness. It's hard for me sometimes to just think everything is awesome.
Oh, it's not. He's not awesome by any means. All I'm saying is he's willing to talk quite often and walk the walk, right? And there's some respect to that. He's off on his timing quite often. He's not delivered a couple of products that he's talked about quite often, but the vast majority of the products he has talked about, he has delivered on.
I mean, I've seen a SpaceX rocket return to Earth live and in person. It's one of the most amazing things that anyone could ever see. Right? Like, I'm not discounting what he has done or what he has helped bring into the world, right? Or how he's changed industries. I'm not discounting any of that. I can give people criticism and still appreciation at the same time. It doesn't have to be full Elon all the time.
I might have got lost when you said fuck Elon then.
Yeah, fuck him. I don't like his. I don't like. I mean, you know me well enough that is not the type of person that I would get along well with. So fuck him.
Wait, I have a change of topic. Can someone tell me how to get rid of the stupid pop-up on StockTwits about trading is now open? I don't want to participate in this, whatever they're doing. Can you stop popping it up on my screen?
The
Sorry,
trading competition?
Yes.
What do you have to do it?
I don't care. I don't want to know. I
Yeah.
just want the stupid pop-up to disappear. I'm logged in. I don't want to see it every time I open the stupid browser.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I just got it too.
You go to X, you won't be getting that.
I don't get it on X, yes. I also get absolutely no interaction on X.
I paid for the premium, so I don't get no ads either anymore. Why not?
All right, fellas, we're past time. I didn't mean to go on an Elon rant tonight. That wasn't the ideal final 10 minutes of the pod, but it is what it is. Love you, Elon. Mwah, mwah. Make me some more money, please. Anyway, guys, it's always a fantastic time and a threesome of a joint venture that we have. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget, we have the Cookie Monster, the Pivotologist, Thursday during market hours at noon Eastern times. Jason, I'll throw a wet blanket on you. That's Jimmy's job, is to be the wet blanket. But hey, really, I know I know I said it every week, but thanks, guys. We always have great topics. We always have great conversation, and I appreciate all your insight and your friendship.
Thank you.
Except for GP's Elon Kool-Aid.
Whatever.
I joke.
Whatever, shareholder. You want the Kool-Aid?
I just want the money.
Exactly.
I joke, but thanks, fellas. See you Thursday. Yeah. See you Thursday.
No.
See you Thursday, everybody. Jason, Randy, Rachel.
It's midday. Don't forget, it's midday.
Noon. Set alert. Subscribe.
You shouldn't be trading there in any way.
Yeah, it's the worst time to trade. All right, that's not financial advice, but that's neither here nor there. Thank you for tuning in.